Hello everyone, my name is Zach and welcome to On Cash Flow, where I help you become a master of your own cash flow. Now let's get started. Having a FIRE number can be a big mistake, and that's because it can set you up to retire near the peak of the market, and that is going to expose you to a lot of sequence of return risk. The sequence of return risk is the risk that you're going to be retiring near the peak of a market, and then shortly after you retire, you're going to experience a market recession or a market depression. And the risk of that is that you're going to be withdrawing from your portfolio during that down market, and those could set you up for failure many years down the line, because you could make such large withdrawals relative to your portfolio because of that temporary down market that it could affect the amount of time that you can actually stay retired. So that's why if you have a FIRE number and you're only focused on retiring with a certain number, you're more likely to retire near that peak, because you're more likely to retire when the market is running up, when there's a strong bull market. And shortly after bull markets, as the market cycles always go, there is probably going to be something close to a bear market, or there's going to be a temporary down market, and that could drastically affect the amount of time that you can stay retired. But don't worry, there is a solution to this that we're going to discuss. But first, let's discuss the difference between your actual FIRE number and your net worth, because I don't want these to be confused here. When you experience a market downturn, your net worth is probably going to go down, but your net worth may not go down as much, depending on how much of your net worth is in your investments, in your more likely your stock investments or your stock market investments. So when you are retiring based on your FIRE number, it's important to distinguish that from your net worth. Now, there are things that are going to be included in your net worth that shouldn't be included in your FIRE number, such as your personal residence, your cars, maybe you have a boat or some other expensive item. So that kind of personal property shouldn't be included in your FIRE number, but it should technically be included in your net worth. So it's going to make your net worth go up, but it's not going to be making your FIRE number go up. And that's really important to distinguish those when we're talking about having a FIRE number to retire on. And while I do think you should definitely track your net worth and keep track of it and try to increase your net worth, there's a number that is way more important than your net worth, and that is the number of likes on this video. So if you're enjoying this video so far, please make sure you like the video. It really does help me out, and I really do appreciate it. But now let's get on to why I've actually changed my mind about FIRE numbers. So I used to think that your FIRE number was like the single most important number, even more important than your savings rate. Just like once you reach that FIRE number, that goal that everyone is looking for in the financial independence community, you've achieved financial independence once you've achieved that FIRE number. But my mind has changed a little bit on this. I don't think as strongly about FIRE numbers as I did before, and that's because of that sequence of return risk associated with focusing only on that FIRE number. Now I look at the FIRE number as more of just like a general goal or a general guideline for you to follow. But don't think of it as, the end all be all, that once you achieve this actual number, you're going to become financially independent and it's going to last forever. All right, so that may not necessarily be the case. And there's many reasons for that, but one that I really do want to hint on here is that your FIRE number is probably going to change. So most of us, when we first start out, we're looking at a timeline of around, let's say 10 to 15 years for most of us. A lot of things can change within that time. And one of those things that probably is going to change for you, like it has for me, is how much your actual FIRE number is going to be, what your FIRE goal is. When I first started out, I probably started out with one of the lowest FIRE numbers I could possibly think of. I'm like, I'm gonna do the very bare minimum. I'm gonna get this very bare amount. I'm gonna live off of this, have a great life. I'm gonna be free. So my first FIRE number was, I think, around $500,000. And then from there, my FIRE number has changed. It's gone up to $1 million. I thought I needed $1 million. Then I came somewhere in the middle, around $750,000. Then I've calculated at $800,000. So my FIRE number has changed, and yours probably has as well. Or even if it hasn't yet, it probably will change over the years. And that's why I don't necessarily think the FIRE number is the end all be all. That's one big reason. Really quick, in the comments below, I want to know from you, what is your current FIRE number, and has it changed since you first found financial independence? Has your FIRE number changed at all? Like I said, mine has literally changed anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. And then when I finally pulled the plug on financial independence, it was somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million. So that's when what my FIRE number ended up being. So I want to know from you in the comments below if your FIRE number has ever changed. But the other big reason is that there is a better solution to this. There's a better solution than just having a FIRE number. I think that it might be best for us to, instead of having just one FIRE number, for us to have a FIRE date and a FIRE range. So a number that is within a certain amount of range. Let's say that you want to become financially independent and sort of live a more retired lifestyle once you become age 40 and you're currently aged 30. That would give you 10 years. So you can have your FIRE date to be your 40th birthday in about 10 years. And then you could also have a FIRE range anywhere from plus or minus, let's say 10%. And your range, it can be different depending on how flexible you can be with your actual plans. I think the larger your budget, your final FIRE spending, like how much you're going to spend per year, I think the bigger your range can be. Now, if you're retiring on the lower side, I think the lower your range can be. So for this example, let's say that someone is looking to retire on about $40,000 per year. They think that that's how much their expenses are going to be. They can have a range of, let's say, plus or minus 10%. So when that comes to their actual FIRE number, it's going to create a range of plus 10% around that FIRE number. So let's say they generally estimated their FIRE number to be $1 million based on the 4% rule. So their FIRE range can be, let's say, anywhere from $900,000 to $1.1 million. They can set their current goal at, hey, I want to become financially independent around my 40th birthday, and as long as I have around between like $900,000 and $1.1 million of my FIRE number, like of actual investments, then I think I'm going to be set for financial independence. And that could be just like their guidepost, what they're going for. It doesn't necessarily have to be the absolute thing that's what they have to do. Because like I said, your FIRE number can and probably will change, but it's always good to have something that you're striving for. But instead of focusing solely on the end goal, solely on the FIRE number, like this is it, this is the only thing that matters. Instead of focusing on that, now you can sit back and look at how you're going to design a system to actually get you to where you want to be. Rather than focusing on the end goal, rather than focusing on that FIRE number, you can focus on how you're going to make your life good today, how you're going to improve your life today, how you're going to improve your savings rate, how you're going to improve your investments, how you're going to become a better investor, how you're going to become a better saver, and all these kinds of things. Take away the focus of that end goal, and you can instead put that focus on the system that you are building to get you where you want to be. So now that you know that a FIRE date and a FIRE range is probably the superior way to think about how to achieve financial independence, you're actually going to need to know how you're going to get there. And most likely you're going to need to invest in the stock market in order to get there. Most likely that is probably one of the best ways that you can achieve financial independence. And that's why, if you haven't already, I created a full guide to investing your way to financial independence, and you need to watch that video if you haven't already. It's going to pop up right next to me. Now, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Zach from OnCashflow.com, and I hope to see you next time.